I don't mind. You can leave him here. I don't know if I can hold myself
All
back
right,
from.
that's okay. We're live now. So hey, so go ahead and mute yourself, Barry. I know you got a call to go take, and then come back afterwards after your call. So I'm Matt Storms. Thank you for joining Helpdesk Hangouts this week. I know more people will join as we're going along. So, and we'll have those people introduce themselves. In fact, one of them will have William Rock introduce himself right now. And then as more people join, we will introduce themselves. And then I'm going to tell people about. Go ahead, William. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, everybody's muted, so if William, you're talking, I heard you. William, you want to talk?
Did I not talk? Did you guys
No,
not?
you were talking, but nobody heard you because.
Oh shoot! Well, we're all muted. Okay. Well, here we go. Just a geek on the web. You can Google search me anywhere, and you can find all the information about me. And just happy to have the show back online. Let's all keep it positive, and I cannot wait to hear the news from Barry.
Okay. Um, Matt, should I talk? Who's in charge here? Did he freeze? He looks like he's frozen.
Trim that. So I'm actually moving all day long. So that's why I'm swaying back a little bit forth. Hopefully I don't make you seasick. So with that being said, so one of the projects I worked on was a major website. I'm not going to say the name of the site, but what we did is we they had about 30 different sites, ancillary sites, child type sites, if you were to talk about it right correctly. And what we did is we took those 30 different sites and we rolled them all up into the one site. Hey, Baruch, how you doing?
Hey, good. You?
Doing well. Talking about a project I was working on over the last month, and then yeah, and then we'll keep on going. Okay?
Nice. Hi, Mihai. Hi, Barry, William.
Outstanding. So the project I was working on is for a very large company. What we did is we took 30 child type sites, and we had to shut all them down. Their corporate executive said, "Hey, go ahead and kill all these. We want to have everything just under one site," which makes sense. It was interesting with how many like backlinks and stuff like that. When I was doing the assessment, I found one of the sites had like 600,000 backlinks, and they're just like, "We're just going to kill the site. We're just going to shut it off." And I'm like, maybe let's preserve a little of it because there could be some value in there. And so what I did is we cleaned up all their 404 errors, first off, for all of those little sites, of which there was hundreds of thousands of them, because we wanted to make sure that was cleaned up first. And then what we did is we went in and we put in we did all the Webmaster tools and all that stuff, claiming and verifying the sites, because a lot of them had never been claimed or verified. And so we said, okay, well, let's go ahead and clean this up. Let's just do it like we were going to just run all these sites anyways. And then we cleaned everything up, and we did all the 301s from the 404 pages to the correct places. And then we went in and we cleaned up everything we possibly could. And then we said, okay, great. Now that we've got all this cleaned up, now let's take all of the pages, and we're going to 301 them to the new pages that we built out on the main parent site to reflect the content that was on the old ones. So kind of cool to do that. And then we put in a rule on the HTA access files for a lot of these different sites, is that we said if person coming from, we'll just say here, okay, coming from a website out there, lands and they click a link and it was supposed to take them to website A, okay, one of these child sites. And now that child site's going to fire a 301 redirect to the new site, okay, that it's supposed to live at. And so what we did is we said, okay, this HTA access list for all these different sites is going to be super huge, and we don't want to have a massive bloat. So one of the easiest ways to remove the bloat is to say, and to help with cleanup over time, is to say, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to set a rule in place that if a person clicks on a link from another page, comes to one of those old sites, and it fires a 301, after 180 days, if that link is not fired, then we remove it from the htaccess file. So what that did is that's giving us basically 180 days to clean up the entire portfolio. And so we can look and say, and we get reports spit out every day and say, okay, well, we get this massive report, we get this report on all these links, and so now we can do outreach to those sites that are out there that are driving links through. And we can say, hey, thanks for linking to us. The link's changed. Would you mind updating it? Understanding that about 90% of the time they're not going to update it. Who does, right? But at least we asked. And so we set up a 301 redirect, 180 days. If it's not corrected, then it'll fall out. Now, if somebody keeps clicking on those links, say a link is live for 180 days, 179 days, if someone clicks on that link will stay alive again for 180 more days.
That's crazy, man.
So a little bit complex to think about that. So that was a little bit complex to do. So yeah, and so William asked a question, what tool did we use to monitor? We actually built out an internal tool to do that. So
curious to me because basically, with that, you can remove when you set a 301 redirect, on a new design, say for example, those new designs, Google's going to pick that up, right? And then those will then fall off and then be forced to that. My question is, I guess, do I keep those so that other engines can support that 301 redirect if they didn't have that already there? And what's the time of expiration?
So
when do you start to delete those 301s?
So we're just going to say that, make it simple. We'll say William is linking to Matt, which links to Helpdesk Hangouts, right? And so Matt's the old site that we shut down, and everything's on Helpdesk Hangouts. Does that kind of work there for that kind of example?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So the links on the htaccess file for me would say the redirects would stay alive for 180 days. At the end of 180 days, if no one's clicked on that link on your site, on William's site, no one's clicked, then that link will just be stripped out of the htaccess file.
Okay, so
now,
are you following this through a Google Analytics filter that you're seeing that the link is no longer being followed or clicked on? And then what happens if you remove that htaccess file and then it comes back? Even a bloated htaccess file is okay to a certain extent, but if that 301 redirect comes back as an unnormal signal, then what is the repercussion from that?
So I don't think there's any repercussions from that. I think it shows Google that you're cleaning things up, which is a good thing. The issue that I would have is if you're not cleaning things up and you allow people to land on a 404. So to prevent a rash of 404 errors from populating, that's what we did. And we've actually seen, it's interesting, they have a team of guys. I was brought in as an outside guy, but what they did is they have a team of people who cleaned all that stuff up based on those recommendations. They built a really awesome tool. Their developers and engineers built an awesome tool to track that stuff. And then what they did is they were able to render all of that data through. And so that way, if they have, 55, people who are clicking on the link on your site that's coming to me, that's firing the redirect, so now they count 55 from you. Now they can say, okay, well, let's go and contact William to change the link on his page.
Like, for instance, I want to ask you a question. So I had to clean up blogs from like 2009 to 2014. And so what I did was I cleaned a lot of 404 errors in all these. I mean, we're talking like hundreds of different pages of blogs, like from '09 to 2014. So, what's your call on that? Like, they haven't been touched, and I removed all of them, right? I had the thing is, though, I had to go through different channels, you know, like 5 different people. Oh, this guy can't touch this blog. This guy can't touch that blog, and because I'm talking corporate level, and a lot of SEOs can agree with me on this.
Yep.
So we've done it. So I managed to do it. Overall, like there's like 500 emails between everybody. It's crazy.
Oh, and I agree. I agree. It's painful and it sucks.
So that's all been cleaned up. Do you think Google's going to give credit to me for doing that?
So I think that they'll give you credit. I think you've preserved those backlinks that you had.
Yeah.
And then what you're being able to do is you're being able to, this company was unique. They had 30 sites they were shutting down.
Right.
And we're talking sites with like hundreds of thousands of backlinks. One of the sites had over 600,000 backlinks. They've been around for 15 years.
Amazing.
And they were shutting it down. I was like, I would probably leave it up, but yeah, it's just like William asked in the chat, what is your toxic link score? Actually, they were all really, really good, high quality, super awesome links. A lot of them were from universities, and a lot of them were from government. They're in that industry where they supply a lot of stuff to government and schools, and so they rank basically all their sites rank #1 for all their terms. And I'm like, I would probably just leave them there because they're getting tons of traffic anyways. But they wanted to roll everything into one, and so we had to preserve all of that value. And they also wanted to reduce the amount of developers they had employed. So they roughly had, from what I gather, they had over 80 developers working on over 30 sites, and so it made sense to lay a few off.
I wonder what Eric thinks of this.
No comment for Eric, it sounds like.
Well, he's smiling, so it must be good.
All right. So that was one of the biggest things is working through that problem set. It was a very unique problem set. And then the reason we were offline for the last few weeks is I took off on a camping trip. And I took off on a motorcycle ride. I went and did 1,800 miles on a motorcycle over 5 days, which was epic. If you've never been up the California coast, up to Astoria, I saw where the Goonies house was. I almost did the Truffle Shuffle, but I decided not to, if you guys know what that is. And then from there, I went over to Crater Lake, which is amazing. If you've never been to Crater Lake, Oregon, I strongly suggest you check it out. Even just go and look, do a Google picture of it. The water is that blue. I did not filter any of my pictures when I took photos of Crater Lake. I was surprised by how blue the water really was. You can see for like 150 feet underwater.
You're lucky there was no lions there.
Well, yeah, you can save that for the lion hangout. So that being said, that was a very unique trip, and I landed down in South Lake Tahoe for a family reunion, and then rode my bike back home after that. So, and then last week I was cleaning up some issues, which I thought I corrected, but I guess I didn't.
Very blue.
Yeah, it's a very blue link. So yeah, so those are some of the issues. So Barry, are you still on your call, or are you off your call now?
Off.
Off. Outstanding. So I think it would be kind of funny to talk about some of the news over the last few weeks. Let's not talk about any updates or stuff like that from Google. I don't want to talk about penalties. I don't want to talk about any of that type of stuff. And this is not the hangout to talk about those things. If you have a penalty, if you have any types of issues that are animal related, there are other hangouts for you. I will be glad to help direct you to those hangouts, because we're not going to talk about penalties. We're going to talk about awesome things. So yeah, so you can go to those. And please don't promote your hangouts in this hangout. That would be a great thing. So Anyway, so go ahead, Barry. If you want to talk about some news, that would be great.
Talk about how much Sergey and Larry made yesterday or today.
A lot.
In one day.
News. I mean, I cover penalties.
I know.
It's interesting you say that you guys don't want to talk about,
Well,
penalties.
pretty tricky.
It's interesting that you guys talk about you don't want to cover penalties because John Mueller this morning said in a Hangout that typically Googlers like John and Gary and so forth don't like to give or they don't tend to give advice specifically on algorithmic, Panda or web spam algorithms. So I find that interesting. I think the reason is because they really don't know the answers to why a site might have been penalized or not. Or in some cases they don't know the answer because looking at it you can't always tell. But on the news front, Webmaster Search Console sent out notifications this week. I got every single WordPress blogger or webmaster, all nervous, basically saying Googlebot cannot access your CSS or JavaScript files, and it might have an impact on your rankings because of that. So a lot of people got those emails.
I had like over 30 of them. I was like, wait a minute, what's this?
I got 0 because I don't have any websites running on WordPress that I personally manage, which is nice. And then everybody who looks at every single SEO who does an analysis on any of my websites says one of the issues you have is that you don't have a robots.txt file. I'm like, why? I don't want to block Google from anything. What do I need to tell them? They're going to come in anyway. So that was interesting. A lot of people were talking about that. Again, because most WordPress sites by default have those issues. Also, another topic was that people thought that Bing had a significant algorithmic change in the past couple weeks. But the truth is they didn't. Specifically, Bing told me that what happened was if you look at your Bing organic traffic in Google Analytics, you'll see a deep dive. And because of that deep dive, I said, oh, it looks like something's going on. A lot of people are complaining in the forums that they have less organic traffic from Bing. The truth is, something's going on, and Bing told me basically they're starting to migrate to their HTTPS encrypted searches. When you go to Bing, it'll be over HTTPS. And because of that, Bing is no longer passing the actual refer data at all. They're just saying it's not organic search, it's actually a direct refer from Bing.com, which is not the way Google works. Google works where Google still tells you over encrypted search that it's coming from Google organic search, but they do remove the keyword data, which is where not provided comes. I assumed, I guess incorrectly, that Bing would be the same thing. Bing would have a not provided. They would strip out the keyword data, but they'd still communicate where the traffic was coming from, either organic search, paid search, and so forth, and that's definitely not the case currently, and I think it's probably just a mistake on their end. So if you do see a major drop in Bing traffic, it wasn't due to a penalty, or maybe it was, but we don't talk about penalties here, and so forth. Let's keep this organic, I guess. A couple things out of Google stuff. Gary from Google said that they won't, Google won't index, Googlebot won't even see or index content behind tabs that are dynamically loaded on click, mostly through the Bootstrap framework. So that's different from what John Mueller said in the past, where John basically said content behind tabs or hidden content and so forth would be way less. That's true, but content that actually is actually dynamically loaded supposedly won't even be indexed or seen by Google, which is fairly interesting. What else?
Oh, can you talk about your site? I mean, everybody wants to know. I mean, that's amazing news.
I don't know if I'm allowed to. I have to get permission.
Okay, ask.
Is he here?
Yes, he says go ahead.
He's on mute.
Go ahead. Go
My
ahead.
site.
Give a thumbs up.
So my site has a lot of thin content on it, and for some reason, recently Google released this Panda 4.2 refresh, whatever they're calling it, and supposedly that thin content is no longer seen as thin, and now I'm starting to rank better and better in the organic search. So just to take you back, about 10 months ago, Google released a 4.1 Panda refresh, which had a negative impact on my website. I dropped about 30% overall on organic search, which isn't as significant as many Panda updates, but I dropped about 30% of my organic search traffic since Panda 4.2 released, my traffic trend has gone up drastically. I think I'm up about, I forgot the percentages. I think I'm up about 30%, obviously, which is not 100% from where I was. But no, I had nothing to do with it. I really didn't change anything on the site except for a little thing on technical thing on how comments are rendered on the website. Although Google can still access all the comments, so it's not comment related, I don't think. But anyway, people are asking what did I do. They're calling me. I'm still hit by Panda. What should I do? And I'm like, I don't know. Just keep making your website better. And so forth. But I didn't make my website any better, so I'm not exactly sure why I was released or why I was hit in the first place. But again, I can't give any insight into that. If anybody has specific questions, I could answer them. But
you're showing up like you used to, like back in the days in the results. Like, do you check your old results or wherever you didn't rank and stuff like that? Do you have like them written down or something like that?
I never looked at my keyword rankings. I do look at my traffic.
No, I'm just saying certain things. I mean,
I don't know. I never really looked at my keywords, especially since not provided, because I'm not running ranking reports. So I just know overall Google traffic dropped, and now it's coming up again. I did share some stats yesterday on the Search Engine Roundtable showing 3 different types of graphs.
Right.
So you can actually see pre-Panda, post-Panda, post-Panda 4.2 compared to each other and the overall incline or increase in my traffic. So it looks pretty good. It looks like a good trend. And I suspect that trend will continue to go up and up until Google runs another refresh where my site gets hit again and goes back down.
Wow, that's good. Glad to hear you're doing well finally.
It doesn't make a difference either way. It's not like I make much money off the site, but it's nice to know that Google doesn't think my site's good content. Or maybe they do. Maybe it was a mistake in the algorithm. I don't know. What else is important in the past few weeks? Another Webmaster Search Console email that was sent out was about incorrect href lengths. So that's something that Google's sending out. A lot of people said the email that was sent out around that was actually half wrong, and that they had correct href lengths, but Google's saying it's pretty accurate, and so forth. I think that's there's obviously a ton of stuff that we missed. I don't know how much more you want me to talk on and on forever, but there's definitely a lot of stuff I talked about that we covered.
What do you think of Google Plus releasing itself separately? There's news on that. It's positive news.
What do I think? I think it's I don't think anybody's surprised by that. I don't know.
The question is Google Plus dead now?
Not dead. It's still there.
It's still there, but I think
we're using it right now.
Yeah, I'm using it too. We all are. The question is will it survive much over the course of the next few years?
I think it is. You know why? Because Google, the new Google Glass is being tested in small businesses right now, and I think that there's going to be a use for it because of that.
So Google Glass to Google Plus, that's what you're saying?
Yeah, it's coming back. It's being tested in different businesses.
How do you correlate Google Glass to Google Plus?
Well, just Barry demonstrated that to us.
No, but your logic is that it's the workplace, and there's no correlation between the workplace and social Google Plus. It's like Google Plus. It's Facebook and social media is more about personal connections and less about business collection. It's not like a LinkedIn product. So.
Well, because I think just like Facebook now you're allowed to use Facebook in a lot of places I've been to, and it's amazing how everybody works through Facebook. Like it's a company Facebook for everyone, and so everyone. It's like Facebook Office. They're using the chat system as that, but I think that with the whole glass and so on, they can kind of, make it kind of come alive again by bringing the glass back. I mean,
But glass is not really focused on Google Plus. I mean, there's going to be a time where glass is going to probably play in that opportunity, and we've already seen that as examples of events and trade shows where they're actually speaking and actually like the crowd, you can see the crowd, everybody else from that audience can see that. But so that technology is definitely private.
Yeah, but see how they look though is what I'm saying. They made it trendy again, and it's different. It's not what we're used to.
Well, yeah, but guess what? I mean, how long we've been working on this industry,
Yeah.
and how often does Google, Bing, Yahoo change? We just adapt to it and we help our clients get through it. You know, at the end of the day, I think the separation between the accounts is a little different, because I know that there's a lot of companies or even people that they don't want to associate to that because they've been on the platform so long. They're not used to this new interaction. You know, okay, now turn on, disable the Google Plus thing and let them have access to the other tools, and then when they're ready, come over to Google Plus.
Yeah, and I do think, like, Mahai, I think I pronounced your name right. I apologize if I butcher it. But he wrote Mihai. So he wrote in the chat, he said Google Plus will probably split further into something like communities, Hangouts, etc. I bet that could happen. I bet Google will break it up into different business type units for business development, and I think that there's a lot that can be done in there. The only bad thing is that I fear is that if they break things up, it's easier to shut things down. So that's the only issue I have with breaking things up, but I think that will happen. But I like Hangouts. I was happy when they broke photos out, but I was also disappointed when they broke photos out. So yeah. Well, anyways, go ahead.
Sorry. My question was just about even like the simplicity of like Google Maps. I mean, look at the integration that they're doing and deploying with the new like right-hand console, right? That's always adapting. It's changing. It's basically it's bringing in social. You know, we've seen Facebook. We've started to see Twitter. We always see Google Plus, but then I think it just helps build a brand with all the different elements. My fear is going to be, if things change, then how do we adapt for business, and how do we correlate that with all the clients that we have that are going to feel hurt if that separation goes away.
I could see that. I just don't know.
If they were able to just simplify, make it so much easier, it'll be so much better, because I'm still hearing just from people like, oh, there's different clients are saying, well, I'm having problems, like why do my clients need to have a Gmail in order for to write a review for my business? So there's definitely a lot more. You have to simplify.
It's great.
Well, even the listings, like Google My Business basically announced recently that they're going to actually just disable those accounts that are just inactive, right? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But that still gives the opportunity for the business owner to get back in there and verify it. It doesn't go away. I think just actually gives them the opportunity, if they want to have that opportunity in the maps to show and get those reviews. Take the time to actually go through and just verify your account and get things set up so that you're actually doing things. It's just exposure for your business, and it's free.
Whether Google continues to run a social network or not, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that social media is an integral component to most businesses' marketing plan. If your customers are on Facebook or on Google Plus, wherever they are, it doesn't really matter where the customers are. You have to go where the customers are, and obviously you have to market to them. So obviously you have to have social media as part of your marketing plan, and whatever Google does is what Google does. We're not really sure. Does anyone have any? Do we have any SEO questions we're going to talk about today? Has anyone had any SEO things submitted to them that we need to help people? Who are we going to help?
Well, that's a great question. So I don't think we've gotten any questions yet, and I didn't see anything in the Hangout thing either. So that's all right. And we don't have to go the full hour. So if we have to leave, if we want to leave before then, we can. So I would say one of the other things that is unique for SEO lately to me is being able to understand and set and reset goals with clients. I know that's probably something that we've talked about in the past, and it's something we'll be talking about in the future. But I always think that's an SEO issue. But it's also part of business development, or it's sales. And if you are at a firm or an agency or where or independent, or even if you're in-house, you have to explain to the person that's paying you why they're paying you, and you have to be able to set goals, and you have to set everything, set a realistic expectation of services. Otherwise, you might not be doing that job much longer. So that's something to think about. I would love to hear from a few people who, Eric, for example, if you have a mic, I would love to hear how you set realistic expectations with your clients. I don't think he has a mic. That's all right.
So,
real Eric, or you never know.
I'm not entirely sure that's the real Eric. Yeah.
It might not be. It might not be, and that's fine.
Look at the pixels. The picture is so pixelated, and if it's the real Eric, I'm really sorry.
It's all good. It's all good.
Well, what does the real Eric mean anyway? What is the real Eric? If he calls himself Eric, then he's the real Eric.
So Matt, what is the real question? What was the question that started out with? What do we need?
So the question is, how do you set your expectations with clients, with your boss, with anybody else, when they come to you saying, I'm hiring you to do SEO, and these are the goals. Oh, there goes the Google car right by my house. That's awesome. I guess they're going to remap my neighborhood. It's about time. Maybe they'll actually get the driving directions correctly out of here, because it always tells me to turn right and then keep making a circle.
Answer that. I think the way that I would answer that question would be, I'm always trying to help the client learn. During either monthly meetings and so on. Ethically, you basically have to look at the client as they're growing a business, and you are responsible at the end of the day.
Testing. Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi. Wow.
Oh.
How are you, Eric?
Testing. Can you hear me?
Yes, Eric, we can. Can you hear us? I don't think Eric can hear us.
I'm not entirely sure that's Eric Ward. It didn't sound like him.
It doesn't sound like him. Testing. Eric, can you hear me?
Come in, Eric. Tune in.
That's all right.
So
let's keep going, William.
So back to that, you have to look at, when you pick a client, you have to know, your forensic analysis report as an actual optimizer. Can you even save this company? And if you can, cool. But at the same time, if they've got, you're hit by Panda, or Penguin, or whatever algorithm, right? You just can't. But at the same time, education comes into play, right? If we can't educate our clients each month and figure out a way for them to actually provide valuable information from their company, from their voice, marketing companies are doing so much stuff for so many companies, but they really don't have a clue on what the core value of that company is. Not alone getting the traffic from one website all the way down to the sales complete cycle of the conversion.
I totally agree with you. I mean, I'm like a boutique. Just like you can buy a shirt from Walmart, there's nothing wrong buying a shirt from Walmart, or you can go into Saks Avenue and get a shirt for $1,000. The first 2 months is kind of like, or 3 months is my kind of if I get this client or not. After the first month, the client notices, wow, okay, the support is amazing. This is amazing. They see them starting to rank better. That's already a sign, that things are happening. Send them reports on time. Their favorite keywords, even though we don't consider keywords I consider keywords as French fries. They give us keywords like 10, 15. All of them are ranking where they want them to be. So
but
what happens?
end of the day, are they actually participating in the actual engagement of building?
Yes, because like you were saying, we educate them and being, letting them know that, hey, Search Console is the passport, is your lifeline, and you should, they're like, well, Search Console has never been with me all this time. We never knew about Search Console. Or I'm talking about Webmaster Tools back in the day.
Yeah, and the cool thing is, if like for me, I use GoToMeeting because a lot of my clients don't use Hangouts yet, but they're starting.
Sorry, I'm more of a TeamViewer guy.
Oh, there you go, cool. Well, my agency that I work with, basically they're more of a GoToMeeting, and so basically with that same concept that's where I get an opportunity to share my screen and show them. Let's dive through your visitor flow report. Let's look at bounce rates. Let's look at the new page that you guys just lit. You spent so much money to light and optimize.
Yeah.
What is it doing? Does it have a high bounce? Are they going through to your contact page? Are they
and that's it. Just like you're coming to a garage and the mechanic, you're looking at the tire with your mechanic. Right up, and you're seeing what the problem is. You're identifying the situations, and I totally kudos to you for doing such a thing.
No, but when you replace the tire, it's an immediate fix. You can start.
No, what I mean is, Barry, is if I'm coming to your local mechanic right beside you, and you told me about the scenario, we're coming and we're looking and we're actually taking a look at your fender, and we know what needs to be done. We both agree, as opposed to just sending an email and that's it, and then talking to the client once a month.
No, but the difference is, you're giving them a tire to put on their car, which makes them drive immediately. SEOs, whatever. You do some link building, you do some this, you do some that, fix some error pages, and maybe some of that will help, maybe not. Right?
Barry, I go with clients all the way. I show them where their Webmaster Tools is. I show them all the problems that have been fixed, and they're like, wow, you've done all this? Yes, we've done all that. And as a matter of fact, sometimes we even record what we do, and then we email them the file. So
that's important, because that's the...
But the tire fix...
We're very basic. The bottom line is that I'm very transparent in what I do with my clients.
I'm not trying to give you a hard time. I'm saying that's a good thing that you document this stuff, because most of the stuff, all right, you're documenting what you're doing. So you're adding some screws, you're adding some X, Y, and Z to it, but the end game might not result in what they're looking for, and that's the hard part.
No, it's like Big Brother here, Barry. If they want to come into the agency and walk in and say, hey, what are you doing on my website? Well, here you go. Everything is open. Everything's transparent.
Okay, all I'm saying is that the difference between SEO services and some other services is that, and this is not just SEO, it's other industries as well, is that basically what you're doing, the tactics you're taking, the instruments you're using, the tools you're using, might not result in the desired outcome for the client. That's all.
Well, I disagree. So
you've never had an upset client.
Never, Barry.
When you have
at 3 in the morning, if a client calls me at 3 in the morning and saying, I don't know, I want to add a page, they're going to get the page. I'm saying whatever they want, whatever they need. If it's regarding rankings, that's a different story. There's updates for that and so on. That.
But here, Baruch, you're absolutely right. And
if they want their suit, if they want to, for me to sew something at like 4 or 5 in the morning, I'm there for them. Other agencies are sleeping. While you're sleeping, others are getting smarter. That's the that's how we embrace change here.
And you're teaching your clients to be able to do it too. They can go in and launch a Google AdWords campaign, for a specific topic or a subject based off what you've already taught them. They can go and do a Hangout where they can do these things that we've taught them how to do, and that's more success for them that we can go and report back into our analytics. and show them every month, hey, this stuff, look at your videos, look at your video counts. Oh, they're going up. This is your engagement model. This is how much time is being spent, and this is your fall off.
Okay, that's right. If you could show the traffic changes and its improvement and the conversions and all that stuff is actually working, great. But it doesn't always happen overnight. Never happens overnight.
No, never.
And that's what I'm trying to say. That's the hard part. If somebody hires you, if somebody hires a mechanic to put a tire in a car so you can drive, you buy it, you're driving within hours. When it comes to what you guys offer, and not just you, it's any consulting business. It's even doctors. Like I have a disease or whatever, and I think it's X, and some other doctor thinks it's Y, another doctor thinks it's Z, and you don't know what's going to fix it. Again, these are things that you pay experts to hopefully solve.
I'm taking this medication, and it's got to be done in a week. In 1 week, I should see something. I should see a result. Something happened to me, so I'm taking this medication. So 1 week. So therefore, in 2 months is what we tell them. Like around 2 months, they'll see the ranking, changes and so on and so on. But at the same time, instant stuff like giving the best banner possible on Google Plus, or doing this or doing that, something to make the phone ring. It cannot be done in 1 day, 100%. But
I think we're going a little bit far on this conversation. But I think what we need to do is pull back to ethics.
No, do not even mention that word. Do not mention that word.
Okay,
I will boot you. I will throw you out of this hangout, and I will bury you so deep you won't even be able to find yourself.
Sorry, sir. My apologies.
I'm gonna throw it back to Josh.
I have to disagree with Barry a little bit. Surprise. You can actually have a deliverable in SEO that is immediate. Of course, there has to be an analysis phase. You have to analyze first before you know what to do. But it depends on what your deliverables are, which I think was one of Matt's original points. It depends on what the deliverables are. Not every SEO deliverable is a future ranking signal. Not every KPI in SEO is a future ranking signal, although obviously ranking is a major KPI, if not the major KPI. But if a client already has 1,000 visitors a day and 50% are bouncing, if I could show them exactly how to change it so that less bounce, then they're making more sales right away, they're making more money right away, et cetera, et cetera.
So,
which I think what these guys were saying.
Yeah, so doing SEO, for as long as I've been doing it now, I am very careful in how my contracts are written. I do not guarantee rankings. I do not guarantee revenue increase. I'm going to try my best, but I do not guarantee it. I don't even put it in the contract anymore. And I won't do that. I just won't, because it'll burn me. And so...
Just as the doctor can't guarantee health.
Exactly. So yeah, you can't guarantee health. You can't guarantee that you're not going to get sick. You can't guarantee that you're not going to fall down and break your leg, things like that. So, now if you're building a website, you can guarantee that. That's something you can guarantee. If you're saying I'm going to clean up all of your 404 errors, you can guarantee that. If you're going to say I'm going to 301 your website and clean up all the errors on it, you can guarantee that. So I only talk about things with clients that I can guarantee. If a client comes to me with something that I cannot guarantee, I just tell them I can't work on that aspect. I don't work on that. If you would like to have someone that will work on that for you, I'll be glad to help you find them. But I do not engage in that practice or that task. I just don't do it. I avoid it.
Yeah,
and most of them are...
If they ask you, will I see change? And you say, yeah, you will see some change, but I don't know what kind of change.
Yeah. And so...
I don't know if we have to take such a reductionist attitude. I mean, I hear what you guys are saying, and I fully understand where you're coming from, but I take more of an approach where yeah, you will over time see an improvement. If you don't, then I'm going to work even harder to make sure you do. There is going to be general improvement, otherwise why hire you, right?
Exactly. And so there's a lot of issues to think about that there. And so, as Barry just asked me, is that popcorn ceiling above me? Yes, it is. I live in a house that has not been renovated since 1972. A single pane thin glass windows, so it's very hot in here as well, or cold during the wintertime. So it is not a friendly home to live in. But it's
You have a
not cheap.
popcorn ceiling, Barry? What kind of ceiling do you have, Barry?
It is tiles.
Actually, no, it's no.
It's gold. Gold.
Break tonight.
He's gonna break his computer.
Just normal ceiling. It's not my house. It's my office, but.
Nice. So, all right. With that, folks, I think this is a great point to end. I actually have I've had a client that, in fact, the client I was talking about earlier, they've called me like 6 times in the last 10 minutes, so I think there might be an issue where I have to go take that phone call and find out what's going on. So with that being said, I've got to go. I hope you guys all have a great weekend. We'll be back here next week. And remember, if you do have issues, go find another Hangout. If you've got questions or things like that you want to make your site awesome, this is the best Hangout. And we look forward to growing this. And see you guys next week, one week at a time.